Galactus is like 32,000 pounds, so I'm not sure that the city could withstand him standing on top of it, but we're not going to get into that.
We're just going to assume that the 828 New York Foundation is made out of tougher stuff.
Incredible foundation.
Hello and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick, and today we are talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps, the opening entry to Phase 6 in the MCU. Begins with the first family, and it's a new era. It starts on Earth 828. Joe, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Oh,
I'm doing fantastic, Nick.
Oh.
No, like seriously, I mean, not that this was like a huge bar to clear, but like this is most definitely the best Fantastic Four has ever looked on the silver screen.
Yes.
I like this movie. I am gonna come in hot and heavy with some criticisms, but like I really do like this movie. I want to get that very clear. I enjoyed the heck out of the whole team. It's the best that the cast, like our family, has ever felt. Like everyone feels very true to form as they are portrayed in the comics. And even if that wasn't true, the family's just fun when they're all interacting together. I cannot stress that enough. It is the best casting that we've ever had. Who knew that if you just cast really compelling actors and had some good writing, that you'd have characters that are interesting? What a secret to success.
My goodness. I agree. Definitely the best Fantastic Four film they've made, although it's not, really shouldn't have been too hard to get there. But enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the cast. Overall, they interacted super well, and the writing was, like, for the most part, pretty solid as far as, like, the dialogue goes between characters. But I think me and you are going to kind of be on the same wavelength here as far as coming in hot with some criticism. There's just something about the film that kind of just felt off the whole time. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. I have some ideas. But it definitely... I think what hurts it is that Superman just came out 2 weeks ago, and it was so damn good at like picking up from a place in the story that they wanted to start in without giving you the backstory. And this movie...
Oh, I'm very glad that you're bringing this up, because this is actually one of my points.
This movie essentially gives us, like, the first 10 minutes are like, or not even, maybe longer. The first 20 minutes are like kind of backstory of the Fantastic Four. Like, they tried to do it in a quick way, but that still ended up being longer than it should have been. And it was, like, unnecessary. You know, we all know who the Fantastic Four are. This is like the fifth Fantastic Four movie in 15 years. Like, we don't even need like the, you know, TV show and like late night-esque show intro that they were giving us. Like, we don't need it. You know, it's just extra. And that felt like it took even too long to give us that. So that was like right off the bat, starting like that was just like, okay, like, can we get to it? Yeah.
I was going to wait till we get to things that we don't like, but since we're already here, no, I completely agree with you. As far as intros go, it really did feel like we were watching a 15 to 20 minute like clip show, like just like a really quick, like, hey, this is what the world is. This is who the people are. And like, some of this felt unnecessary. And like, what makes it so funny is a phrase that the movie uses that you just used, which is the Fantastic Four. We all know the story, and it's like, right. Well, yeah, we do. So like, let's just get on with it.
Right.
Why are we doing this? Like, I don't know. Superman is, I like, it sucks that we're going to compare this to Superman, but like, they just came out so close together, and it's impossible not to. So like, yeah, it's going to happen here. Yeah, Superman, as you mentioned, it just drops you into the action. It gives you like, you know, this very quick summary, Star Wars-esque summary of like everything you need to know, right? And then like we're just off to the races, right? Whereas like Fantastic Four, yeah, it's a little hand-holdy, and there's part of this that like I feel like could have been great if we just got some time to spend with the characters. This is going to be my biggest criticism for the whole movie is, and I cannot stress this enough. I don't think that this is a bad movie. I like this movie, but something I don't like, at least in most cases, is when something feels too plot motivated. Where like instead of something that's character driven, right? I feel like the family, for like as great as they feel, I feel like we don't get to spend enough time with any particular character, sans Sue Storm, and to like really get emotionally invested in like any of them,
Right.
really. Which sucks, especially Silver Surfer, which like we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
well, like, yeah, sorry, one more thing here, just on plot, right? Because like the plot literally centers around Galactus as he like comes to Earth. He's literally the plot motivating this story, right? And like it almost feels like the plot doesn't even really begin until we see Galactus for the first time.
right.
Which that kind of sucks, you know? But yeah, that's my biggest criticism, is just it's a very plot heavy movie.
Yeah. And some everything you just said like makes total sense. And part of the problem, right, is like this is like a fourfold issue. Like phase 6 is starting. We're reintroducing the Fantastic Four, which, you know, for the first time in this MCU, we're getting the Fantastic Four. Plus, it's a new Earth that we've never explored. So it's the first time we're seeing 828. So like, and which we'll see at the end, spoilers, they introduce Doctor Doom in an after credit scene. And the reason that's important to mention is because we all know that like phase 6, this all leads to Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, right? Whatever happens starting from Fantastic Four First Steps and the next films and TV shows, like it's all leading to Doomsday. So this movie also has to give us something about Doctor Doom, because obviously he comes from this world. So we need to at least be introduced to him in some capacity, right? We get an after credit scene. So this movie has to do all of these things with the opening phase, right? Introduce new characters, introduce a new Earth, introduce a new big bad, while still giving us like a big bad that's bad enough to battle. And they choose 20 minutes of like, hey, this is who the Fantastic Four are, and this is the story that you already know, but we're going to still tell you. It's just like, we definitely did not get enough time with any character. Like in any moment that they had in the movie where you're supposed to feel sentimental or like really feel like love or whatever, like did not hit, because like we don't know these characters. Like we know the Fantastic Four, but we don't know these specific versions.
Right.
And they could have spent 20 minutes giving us that instead, and they didn't. And it definitely fell short on that front. But like you said, like they did such a great job with like giving us really cool sets and scenes, and the acting was solid, and it was a fun movie, and it was enjoyable, and was definitely the best Fantastic Four one they've made. But there were so many pieces that just felt rushed.
Yes.
And it really, like, the whole time I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, okay, I like this, but like I don't feel like I'm in the movie. I feel like I'm just like, I feel like I'm like watching a world happen.
Yeah, zoom by me. Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm like Galactus, just like watching these people operate instead of like actually being like involved or invested. It was a weird feeling to me watching it.
Well, that's a little big-headed of you to think that you were Galactus, but yeah, that's fine.
I'm just a piece of, SHIT.
I mean, this guy can eat like Galactus, am I right?
Wow. Wow. This has gone off the rails.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. No, I think you nailed every point there. I'm in 100% agreement with you on this movie. You're so right about it not just trying to zoom through the plot of this movie, but also setting up for the rest of the phase, which like it's very clearly present there, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, as far as like that not being attached to like any particular character, I was really interested. Like you can have a plot motivated movie, right, and it still be good. But I do think you need to have like at least some kind of emotional attachment to like some of the characters. They don't need like full character arcs, sure, but like just some kind of attachment. And, like we never really got there. And I think what like really made that clear as day for me was the resolution with the Silver Surfer. So Silver Surfer is one of the main characters of this movie, really, for as much like catharsis as they put on her. And it feels like we are missing like a few scenes with her for like her ending to like the ending makes sense, but like it doesn't feel like we got there emotionally, right? For her to like make this sacrifice play. Which I gotta say kind of sucks. I wish we got to spend a little bit more time with her. Really any character, really just any character.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sacrifice play that Silver Surfer makes to make sure Galactus is at the far end of the universe, you know, a million light years away or whatever it was, right? It literally comes out of nowhere. It is the perfect example of a Deus Ex Machina. She just zooms into the planet and just tackles him into the teleportation hole, right? In the wormhole, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like wondering, I feel like usually Marvel's writers do a pretty decent job of at least giving something for everybody to do in most movies, right? Like, well, why isn't this person here right now? Well, they're dealing with this, even though like that feels like maybe that could be solved very easily. They're busy. I get it. What's Silver Surfer doing? Like, just like sitting on the sideline, just watching, just like biding her time, like
Deciding.
maybe I'll interfere now.
Yeah, she's
deciding
who she's gonna
and
help.
just deciding. Yeah, she just left the movie for a little while and then like comes back and decides to end it, which like maybe that was a mercy. I don't know.
So I think I was a little bit more on the side of like I had a feeling that would happen. I think they did a decent job setting up like her change of heart with the scenes with Johnny. And I say decent job, right? Like I think they did a decent job getting, and I kind of like that little storyline where Johnny's like off on his own figuring out how to decipher her language based on a sentence.
Oh, yeah. I love smart Johnny Storm, by the way.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Smart Johnny Storm is awesome. And they did, and of course, like, they did a good job, at least at the beginning of the movie, telling us, like, these are actually the smartest people on this earth. Like, all of them, including Ben Grimm, right? Like, everyone's smart. It's not just some, Ben Grimm's not even just...
Right,
some,
it's like, Reed's clearly the smartest, but all of them
everyone's
very
smart.
intelligent.
So, they just make me believe that, like, Johnny can figure out this language based on having, you know, a few words translated. I don't think that I thought it was a little weird that he was also speaking the language, but that was a little strange, not gonna lie. But that was a cool scene when he's kind of like overwhelming the Silver Surfer with like her language and like having this conversation with her, and like that obviously is the moment where she starts to think, and then that's the reason why at the end she like comes in and saves the day. So I think they did a decent job setting it up. I didn't like hate it. But
I don't
still,
hate it either. I think it makes sense. It just feels like we're missing just like one thing. Like,
but to your point, like I feel like we got more character development from the Silver Surfer than we did from anyone else in the film.
Right. And like as far as like main characters go, like it feels like that should have came from one of the four, right?
Right. Like this movie should be called The Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four.
Let me ask you, is this a better Silver Surfer movie than the original Fox Century one?
I'm going to say yes, because I don't remember the original Fox Century one. I didn't watch it recently. I know you did.
I did. It's funny. My wife actually brought it up. She said that the plot was better, but the emotional connection that's established between the surfer and the family in the Fox Century version was better. Which I think she's absolutely right. And here's the reason. They got to spend more time together.
Right.
You know? Yeah, like literally, like as Galactus is like coming upon the planet, like the surfer's with the four and it's just like chilling in their Fantasticar, like, hey guys, this is looking problematic, you know? Like
right.
He was part of the plot, really. He wasn't just gone, you know? I think that would have been more interesting if she at least got to spend a little bit more time with Johnny instead of just zooming off and away. Or if she did, maybe Johnny's gone too, and like this, you know, creates some stakes in the plot because like the 4 is down to 3. Where's Johnny? You know, that could have been fun. And you know, it's time to actually spend with not just the surfer, but with Johnny. That was a little disappointing. I will say, so since we're harping on not spending a lot of time with the characters, something I do like about this movie is something I mentioned earlier. Every character feels great as far as like who, you know, they're depicted from. They all feel very authentic. I was surprised that my favorite character of the 4 is easily Sue Storm. I thought this was the best she's ever been represented. I mean, like, Sue Storm, always beautiful, right? Which, like, the Hollywood's never messed that up. But Sue Storm also, like, incredibly intelligent, right? Which is something that you brought up earlier. Everyone feels very smart, right? And, like, Sue Storm, certainly no exception. Also, and I'm so glad that they got this, Sue in the comics is respected. Like, people respect the heck out of Sue Storm. Like, the Fantastic Four's enemies, like, they may hate Reed, but man, do they love Sue. They're like, Reed sucks. I hate Reed, but Sue, I would kill myself for Sue. like they love Sue, and I'm glad we got that in this movie with Mole Man. I thought that was actually pretty cool. Even though Mole Man's barely a character in this movie. He's really another like plot device to help like eliminate collateral damage, but at least like he works as like a way for us to get to know Sue a little better, right?
Which I think Galactus is like 32,000 pounds, so I'm not sure that the city could withstand him standing on top of it, but we're not going to get into that.
We're just going to assume that the 828 New York Foundation is made out of tougher stuff.
Incredible foundation. Insane.
Also, like, so at what point did they establish like a highway system to Subterranea? Like, when did that happen? Like, they just had a tunnel that was just like ready.
Don't ask too many questions. You'll ruin the movie for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like we mentioned before, I love Smart Johnny. Hollywood, I don't think has ever messed up Johnny Storm. It's like the one thing that they get right in every Fantastic Four movie. Johnny should feel cool. And I think Johnny feels cool, but Johnny's also gets, you know, a chance to rise to the action in a way that I don't think we usually get to see him do, which is neat. I like that Reed Richards feels flawed, which that's a huge thing for Reed, for as smart as he is. He needs to feel like a very troubled character. Yeah. Ben Grimm, I like that Ben Grimm's kind of soft in this movie. He's got a big old heart, you know, for being the toughest character. Like, you know, he's just a big old softy. I thought that was very fun. Wish we got a little bit more time with his girly friend. That seemed fun, but nope.
And, you know, to talk about I think they overdid the clobbering time just a little bit too. Like,
you know what sucks? The trailer, I feel like, ruined it, you know?
Yeah. Like, they gave us, like, at the very beginning, you get a Flame On reference, and you get like a clobbering time reference. Like, oh, cool, they got like we're gonna reference the original out of the way. Let's have fun, you know, whatever. And then we get like it's clobbering time like 7 more times.
Yeah.
Like, okay. All right. And then they had to do it when he was like at the end when he's actually fighting. I'm like, I didn't need it.
Well, like that's what I'm saying. Like that's the payoff, right? That's the joke payoff. But like the trailers like ruined that. Like, you know, like, okay, that's when he's gonna say it.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you guys do that?
Yeah.
That could have been fun. That could have been great.
Right.
But
oh well.
It could have been, dare I say, fantastic.
Also, real quick, I know we talked about Earth 828, but that we have to shout out Jack Kirby because
his
828, his birthday is August 28th. So that is the reason behind the 828 being the particular number for this Earth. So shout out Jack Kirby.
You know, that is really awesome for a lot of reasons. The biggest one, I think, is so Stan Lee, you know, always gets his accolades in the MCU for being a father of Marvel, right? And like, you know, rightly so. You know, a lot of this would not exist without Stan Lee. But like Jack Kirby definitely does not get as much like respect, at least in the MCU. And damn, he deserves it, right? Because like it was Stan and Jack, right? And it was great that we got a Jack Kirby shout out here. You know, that was very nice.
Facts. Love it. All right.
What? Hang on. So you mentioned 828. I do want to say I like 828.
Me too.
I wish that we could have spent more time getting to know the world. I love the retro tech feel. It's really cool. That like we're just kind of stuck in like the 60s, but like hyper technology is like all around thanks to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love the visuals that we get in this movie, which might be a good segue into space travel.
Space travel, yeah.
So Fantastic Four, something that I really like about them is that typically in comics, they're not just like the superheroes like who are here to save the day. What's really fun about them is that first and foremost that they are always explorers. That's what they do, right? They go to new frontiers. So I'm glad that we got to see a movie where they're doing that, and the movie like really focuses on them being scientists first, right? So them going to travel to Galactus, pretty fun, pretty interesting. I love that their ship is the Excelsior, a Stanley reference. That's awesome. I really just want to highlight for a second here the chase sequence between the Surfer and the Excelsior. This to me was like one of the most exciting pieces of the entire movie. I loved this scene. I know that you're a big visuals guy. How did you feel about it?
That was really cool. Getting a super, what is it, like faster than speed of light travel scene, basically, right? Where they're also battling.
It's exactly what it was.
And Johnny is like firing a gun, but he realizes like the wormhole is like shifting how it shoots, so he has to like use the wormhole to wrap around the gun to be able to hit the Silver Surfer, which was like a really cool scene. That was really awesome. Also, their view of like Gargantua, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is why I was asking you. Yeah.
And then the shot of what the black hole looks like, really freaking cool.
Very interstellar.
Very interstellar. In my head, I was watching this. I was like, man, you could. There's got to be an edit you can do here where all of a sudden Interstellar begins,
Absolutely.
They come across Coop,
Maybe they find Tars. They're like, oh, that's where
Tars.
he is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What is this guy doing here?
Herbie gets a little robot friend.
Yeah, and I thought that was a cool way to buy the team time, right? Because they were like, Silver Surfer's powerful enough she's not going to get sucked into the black hole, but she's going to be stuck for a month.
I thought that this was a great idea. It's like, we're just going to trap her using a neutron star. That was awesome. That feels like a very Reed Richards thing to do. And like the visual on it was sick.
Yeah. It's like, we need to buy some time. We can't defeat her. So we're going to, trap her, which like, this is a very common theme throughout the film, right? Like Galactus is too powerful to beat. He's the oldest being in the universe. He existed before anyone else did in the universe. He was a human who now feeds on worlds to stay powerful. Like, you can't beat him, so you have to trick him, right? Like when Silver Surfer was very similar. They really didn't know how to beat her. They had to trick her or change her heart, basically, which they did both those things throughout the film. So there's a very interesting common theme where it's just like the Fantastic Four might not be extremely powerful separately, but together with their smarts, they are able to like figure out ways to like win at the end of the day, which I think is just kind of like the big lesson at the end. So, yeah.
As far as visuals go, we brought up Interstellar, which like that, I agree with you. Like that very much felt like Gargantua. I do have to bring up one more that I loved that they referenced to this. And I think for me, this is the first time that I've ever seen a movie do a birthing in space. Let me know if there are others that came before this. But the reason why I want to like call this out, so like I really enjoyed that scene as well. I thought, as far as like suspense goes or like a challenge goes, like it was at least interesting, right? Like how do you do a birthing without gravity, right? But when the baby, when Franklin does come into the movie, that you cannot tell me that this wasn't meant to be or at least like the reference here that they were drawing inspiration from is not 2001: A Space Odyssey. with like the evolution of man into like the next step and like seeing
Yeah.
like the baby like in space, like in the womb, right? Like that's absolutely like what they're referencing. And I don't think that reference is without foreshadow. Like it wasn't just there just to be as a fun callback to 2001 Space Odyssey, because like in that movie, like this is a reference to like the next evolution of man, the next mutation of man, right? Spoilers for what Franklin Richards is. And I think it was a great way of showing us how Franklin's going to continue to be the struggle of the main struggle of this family, right? As they continue forward within the MC multiverse. Not just obviously in this movie, but like forward, which, as you brought up, a bit of a foreshadow for like the post-credit scene at the end here.
Right.
So I love that depiction of Franklin. That was really cool. It was very creative. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah, and really the movie's about him,
It is. Yeah, Franklin is kind of the main character.
He's like essentially the main character, main reason for the plot and everything. And then of course the after credit scene too. It's like he is the reason for all of this and for all of the bad things that are happening or will happen because of his apparent power, that we'll of course see later, and did kind of see at the end of the movie, right? With Sue Storm coming back. So,
did they get you with that?
No, like, I knew she wasn't gonna die. They didn't build the stakes in. The reason is because they didn't let us, like, we didn't really we got to know her the most, but like it still wasn't enough to like build in the stakes. Like, oh no, she might die. It's like, she's not gonna die.
So they got me for like literally like 1 second. 1 second. Because I was like, same as you, like while Reed's like doing CPR, I was like, she's not gonna die. Come on now. Like, why are we doing this? And then like it was clear that she was dead, and I was still like, well, hang on, okay. Miracle has to happen here. Surfer? No, Surfer's gone. Oh crap, is she gonna die for real? And then the camera goes to baby, and I'm like, right, Franklin. Okay, all right, we're good. All right. Yeah. 1 second they got me.
But only because you forgot about the baby.
I forgot about Franklin for 1 second.
I was like, can you just like put the baby on top of her so we can get this over with?
You're like, so, come on.
And since we're talking about Franklin and we've touched on the after credit scene a couple times, that after credit scene picks up 4 years later, and all of a sudden, like Dr. Doom like appears and is like with Franklin, right?
We did get a subtle reference, well, maybe not super subtle, but a quick reference to him in the beginning of the movie when they're doing the clip show of everyone, when they're at the United Nations meeting and Latveria is absent.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great point. We got that at the beginning, and then of course we get to see him, or the back of him, talking to Franklin briefly. So that, of course, like a ton of questions. The next time we see the Fantastic Four, is it going to pick up 4 years later? I'm assuming, based on that after credit scene. So like, we're jumping? We're going to be jumping some years here in Phase 6, I imagine, based on that. That leads to kind of a lot of questions for like the next couple films before Doomsday. Like, where are we timeline wise? And then of course, like, this all has to lead to 616 at some point, right? Like, and we know from the Thunderbolts after credit scene that like there's a Fantastic Four ship that enters the atmosphere. Like,
Excelsior.
We're assuming it's this Fantastic. We assume it's this Fantastic Four, right? We're assuming it's 828 Fantastic Four, because Reed also tells us that the multiverse exists, right? Well, we already know that, but like he's figured it out. But
we know that he knows that,
right? So there's a lot of questions there. I imagine that it's the 828 Excelsior that appeared in Thunderbolts, but that implies that these two universes are going to come together at some point. Doctor Doom, of course, is going to be like the underlying factor, I imagine. But yeah, a lot of questions. So we'll see.
We will see. I do want to go back for a second here because like we've talked around him a lot, but we haven't really talked about him, and like that is Galactus. Yeah. How'd you feel about Galactus?
It's just funny how, I mean, he's very similar to a Celestial. So like the whole time I'm just like thinking of the Celestials, but he's not a Celestial. Very important to mention. I don't know, like he's this crazy powerful being that just destroys worlds. but then all of a sudden he's like, this baby is going to quench my hunger. Does he want
Well,
to eat? Does he want to eat the baby or raise the baby to take over? I'm honestly not sure which one he wanted to do. I didn't understand what the movie was trying to tell me. I'm like, does he want to eat the baby and like so that he's like never hungry again, or does he want the baby to take over?
He says it. I think he only says it once. What he really wants the baby for, what he wants Franklin for, and it's so Galactus is he doesn't want to do what he's doing basically, which is to like keep devouring worlds. But it's a hunger that's like never satiated. So like I think that's kind of relatable actually. Like none of us enjoy the feeling of hunger. That's a horrible feeling, right? And like he's just always hungry, right? And he tells us that this child will be my successor. Like I feel like the power in him. He's been touched by the power cosmic, which is like one of the most powerful like sources of energy in Marvel Comics. He's like, yeah, this baby, like he's gonna be me. I get to stop doing this. Because like to be the world devourer is kind of like it's kind of a curse. Like it has to exist in the universe. It's almost like a gardener. You have to come in and like do the clippings, right?
But this is my big question. Like, so does the baby have the power to like get rid of his hunger, or like like how is the baby the reason that he's not gonna need to do that anymore? And then if the baby's gonna take his place, does that mean that Franklin Richards now is gonna have this hunger that he has to devour worlds in the future? Like, it's completely unclear and like a little ridiculous to me because again, I was like, does he want to eat the baby? Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, what does he want to do? What do you mean? Like, he's going to take over the throne, but this baby has the power to quench my hunger. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
that phrasing was a little weird. Like to quench, like I understand what they meant when they said that, like they mean to end his hunger, right? But like, it did make it sound like, oh, he's going to eat the baby.
Yeah. I'm like, what's
that was a little weird.
And so that's really just not all very clear. And I have a ton more questions around that. But now Galactus apparently is, millions of light years away. So they've essentially gotten rid of him. I doubt we see him again in the MCU.
No, I disagree. I think we do see Galactus again at some point. Maybe even in Secret Wars. I'm actually counting on that.
Interesting.
Galactus is like too iconic of a character to like ever get rid of. You never get rid of Galactus.
Yeah, but he's like too powerful to keep around too long.
Well, true, but like what I enjoy about like Galactus is like his relationship with Reed Richards, which like we didn't get to see that unfold really in this movie. It was neat that we got to see them talk, but Galactus respects the heck out of Reed in the source material. And he like even calls him out as like, you are the smartest man in like the universe. And like they actually have like a pretty decent relationship. Which is fun and interesting to watch them talk in stories, right? So like I think that's something do that. Right. Like I think that's something we could see down the road is Galactus and Reed, establish some sort of like emotional catharsis together.
The only way, well, then if that is going to happen, it's going to be because Franklin has the powers to make Galactus not hungry, in which case then Galactus won't want to destroy everything. So
I agree with this.
Franklin just needs to be older, which we're trending in that direction because like we picked up 4 years later in the after credits scene. Yeah. So maybe that's where we're headed. So
cool. I think you're hitting the nail on the head here again. You're just swinging and hitting, baby. So there are two different comic storylines that I'm going to reference here for Galactus. One is a reference to where Franklin actually like we get to see Franklin at full power as an adult. And like he makes Galactus like his herald. So like he makes Galactus like his Silver Surfer, which is freaking awesome. And there's another comic series by Al Ewing. It's called The Ultimates. The Fantastic Four are not featured in this comic, but we get kind of like a universal like Avengers with heroes established from Earth, including Captain Marvel. And their whole thing is a very Reed Richards thing, which is to solve all the problems without violence. Like that's what they're trying to do. And like the first problem they tackle is let's do something about Galactus's hunger. And they're able to like transform Galactus into, instead of the world devourer, into Galactus the life bringer. So like the exact opposite of him, where like he's like creating new life, creating new planets, right? Through like a series of like science magic that they do, right? I could absolutely see that being a future plotline in the MCU with Franklin Richards at some point, should they bring Galactus in, and like they're gonna. Like, they're keeping Galactus in their back pocket. They're gonna do it. They freaking love Galactus. They know nerds love Galactus. Like,
all right,
they're gonna do it again.
I love the theory. I love it. Excellent. What else you got? I think my notes are clear.
I just have one quick note. It's something that you said at the very beginning, where it was going to be impossible not to compare this movie to Superman, just because of like the timing and how awesome Superman felt. And you're right. I think this movie suffered from also one other disadvantage. And I don't know how many people felt this way, because I don't know how many people saw this movie. Thunderbolts, honestly, was like, for me, a much better film.
Agreed.
And I was also comparing it to that. And like, to me, I was like, okay, the stakes are high, because like Thunderbolts actually surprised the heck out of me as to how good it was.
Yeah.
So like, the bar is at least there, you know? Which I don't think it cleared, unfortunately. I felt connected to those characters way more, was way more interested in their story.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Thunderbolts was definitely better. I mean, we do have a lot more time with most of those characters in Thunderbolts from TV shows and other films, so that makes a little bit of sense, but they definitely could have done a better job letting us know like these particular new Fantastic Four characters at the beginning instead of the backstory. But
you know what it comes down to, and I'm kind of surprised that this doesn't exist. I can't remember if it's Joss Whedon or Kevin Feige, but somewhere in like the early phases of Marvel, one of these two, I think it's Feige, they mention that something that was really important for them to have in like the storytelling of these Marvel characters is to have like a campfire scene. A scene in a movie where the characters are just sitting down, the plot's not really happening at the moment, and they're just talking, right? They're just like saying how they feel about things. We get to watch like their dynamics together. It's like a moment where we get to sit down at the campfire with the characters and just bond with them. A perfect example is the after party scene in Age of Ultron, where they're all trying to lift Thor's hammer. That's a great scene. No matter how you feel about that movie, that scene's awesome. It actually sets up things later in the future of the MCU. It's fun. We get to watch the characters like interact with each other and see like what their relationships are, right? There is no campfire scene in Fantastic Four, which it feels like this movie is like, it really needs one, you know?
Yeah, it does. That's a great point. Definitely missing the campfire scene. That would have solved the issues we're talking about for sure.
I think so too.
So, awesome, man. Scores? You want to do scores?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you first.
Okay. You know what? For the sake of theming, I give it a 4. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think like my criticisms come from the fact that my expectations were super high. It's easily like we've said before, easily the best Fantastic Four movie. I think like it clears the bar of average Marvel movie, right? Like it's definitely ahead of that. Maybe 4 is a little too high, but I'm going to stick with it just for the theming.
Yeah. I'd love to join you on the theming. I'm going to go 3.8.
That's what I wanted to give it, but I was like, I'll just round up.
It's just a 3.8 out of 5. And I honestly, I'm going to have to watch it again. I think I'll like it better the second time. But yeah, really nothing else to say other than really hard to kind of introduce a new world, a new Earth, new characters, and then also give us like a clip at the end of like who our next big bad's supposed to be. Not an easy feat. And so overall, enjoyable film, but 3.8. Let us know what you guys think about Fantastic Four First Steps in the comments. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can find us on Threads where we're talking about everything that is currently streaming and coming out in theaters. And until next time,
may the review be with you.
Peace.